What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Easy Convo. I'm Zaid. I'm joined by my co-host Emmanuel Bird. How are we doing today, bro?
Doing all right, champ. You know how we feeling, man. We're feeling good. Good Sunday, you know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Today, obviously, we are joined by our guest, Mr. Brandon Jackson. Brandon is a firefighter, WWE enthusiast, which we will get into. Don't worry.
Mhm.
An owner of and founder of the Black Pickleball League in Kansas City. Brandon is an entrepreneur. He is a coach. Obviously, like we mentioned, firefighter. Just a jack of all trades, if you will. And we're very excited to get into his journey and his story, and have a easy conversation. So, Brandon, we hope for you this is an easy conversation.
Absolutely. We're starting off well with a great introduction, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Yes,
Sure.
sir. Just to start off, man, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself? Where you're from.
Well, I am from Kansas City, Kansas. I'm 25 years old. Uh, like you guys have said, I'm a firefighter down in KCK, FD, Station 7 in Argentine. I basically all the things that I do, man, it's just I have an ambition, I have a passion for getting people together. And I want to leave a legacy not just for myself and my family, but for the city in general. I love Kansas City, and yeah, it's just a little bit about me.
That's awesome, man. Kind of, could you go into a little bit more of that passion you were talking about, and that kind of what is that? Where does that come from? Where does that drive that you have naturally come from?
Man, so my senior year of high school, I think it really came from playing basketball and playing sports. Um, the biggest goal I had in high school basketball was winning a state title, and we did that my senior year. But after that, it was, how could I provide for my family and how can I, leave a legacy in that regard. My two biggest inspirations was Kanye West, n- my best artist out, greatest of all time. I used to watch interviews of his, and it would just leave me motivated to do more and more and more, and just not stop and figure out all my passions and how to um, um, take those passions to a different level. Um, and another one of my inspirations is Roman Reigns, which we'll get into here in a moment. You know what I'm saying? His message is always, what can he do for his family, and putting his family in a bigger light than what they already were, and that's my biggest goal, really, is to uh, big up the Jackson name and the household and all that stuff, man. So those are my two biggest inspirations and what keeps me going. Yeah,
Love that, man. Shout out. So you said you went to Piper High School. Shout out Piper for the state
shout
state
out,
title.
shout out Piper, man. The only state champions, the only.
But yeah, man. So make that transition to high school to college. Did you play sports in college, or did you just make a transition to go be a student collegiately?
So I did not play in college. I had offers after my senior year, but man, honestly, I was really burnt out on the game at the time. I put everything into my senior year because my first 3 years of high school was such a roller coaster of emotions and experiences. So put everything in my senior year, and I was really burnt out on it. And so I went straight into firefighting, going to EMT school. And I always knew I wanted to coach one day, so I wasn't really tripping about leaving the game and all that. And so yeah, that's part of what I do now is coaching as well. So love the game, but just didn't want to play in college. Really burnt out.
And you speak on that transition from high school to college of now you're going into EMT school and things like that and have this ambition and drive to want to coach. What's one thing that you would say that most people could see as a misconception of being a firefighter and things like that?
Most people think we just save cats out of trees, and that we're running into burning buildings. Like that's the only cause that we have. And to be a firefighter, you must be an EMT or a paramedic in some agencies or a lot of agencies. So with that, it's 90% medical costs that we take, and a lot of people don't know that. So you have to be well versed in taking care of people, taking care of little injuries, and picking old ladies up, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. But then the fire side of things, it's hectic as well, but it's not as much as people would think, especially in the Kansas City area. It's not like Los Angeles or New York or anything like that. You know, people think of, 911 like the show or like Chicago Fire. Like, nah, that shit. I mean, can I cuss?
It's fine.
Hey.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, I mean, I'm sometimes I let it slip, you know what I'm saying? But like,
Bro.
um, it's not like Chicago Fire, nothing like that, man. We not, killing ourselves every day, which is part of the reason why I have so many hobbies I get into. I work 24 hours on and 48 off. And so, with that, even the days that I'm supposed to be on, I can have people work for me, and that's how I get so much time during the basketball season as well. So those are the misconceptions, I think.
No, yeah, definitely. And how long was the schooling for that? I don't, is it 2 years or is it three?
So it just depends. To get your EMT, I believe it's a semester, depending on where you're going. And then the academy, it just all, depends on how your department does it. My story is a little different than most because my academy started during the pandemic. And so that was really hectic. So that really only lasted about 3 months, which is like actually, I mean, it's crazy. And after those 3 months, they put us out into the streets. And it was probably one of the most hectic times we've ever had in the world and a lot to deal with, but made it through by the grace of God, So, but yeah, a lot of other stories is vastly different than mine. Don't take my story for anybody else's
Sure.
crazy experience. So,
I think
Well, definitely.
too.
I was gonna ask you, how does do you feel like being a fighter changes how you look at everyday life?
oh man, it's changing for the better and the worse. I feel like I've become a little less emotional towards people because you see a lot of death and you see a lot of hectic situations. So not a lot phases me anymore when it comes to tragic situations. Sadly, I feel like. Um, let's see. What was the question? I'm sorry. What I
Just how
feel
does
like.
it change how you look out like in everyday life, or if you have any, maybe some day that kind of stuck with you and kind of change your outlook on things?
Mm. Um, I would say the day that sticks out to me the most was about 3 or 4 years ago. It was Halloween. We're all chilling, and people don't understand. Like before we get a call, we're basically all just chilling, um, whether in the kitchen or the movie room or whatever the case may be, just trying to rest until we get that call. And the call that we got was, I call it a mass shooting, but it was less than four people that died, and so it's not technically, but it kind of was. It was a Halloween party and a lot of people, a lot of kids were there. So it really changed my outlook on how I look at my kids at East, whether they're safe or not, and what they're doing. I think that's one of the things that's changed my outlook on how I coach, and my message to my players as well. Um, because seeing that was not great, you know. So that really changes how you look at things. But other than that, Uh, I can't really think of anything else, but yeah.
100%. And I'm glad you touched on the coaching aspect of things as well, because I feel like being a firefighter and then a basketball coach is kind of not necessarily two different ends of the spectrum because of both forms of service. But where do
hmm
you find that fine line of service for not only am I serving my community, but I'm also serving the kids in specific in the community? Does that make sense?
Yeah. For me personally, um, I love Kansas City a lot. I love my city a lot. Kansas City, Kansas specifically. Yeah, you gotta specify things.
You do,
But
man. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because I think people misconstrue. I got friends that aren't from Kansas City area,
hmm
and they hear that like, oh, bro, you're from Kansas City. Like, no, no, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. And they're like, wait, what's the like, what's the difference?
there's some beef. There's some beef.
It's an uncharted beef that it's not explained. It's just like, nah, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, man.
Yeah, it's like we're cousins, but like it's the cousins that you don't really see too often because the family beefing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
Yeah,
that. You know.
I like
Uh,
that
but
analogy.
I think number one, like I said, I love Kansas City, so I put my all into making sure that Wyandotte specifically is seen, um, and so that helps with tending to my community, going on these calls, and making sure that people are okay. But um, with coaching, man, I tell people all the time it's the best thing that you could possibly do because you're building up young men. And so I'm not that far removed from high school. So, I started at 19, 20 coaching at East. And I just seen, since the first day I was there, I've seen so much of myself in them. And so it makes you go harder with coaching them and making sure that they succeed, and not only succeed, but get the best experience out of high school. Because to me, high school is as good as it gets when it comes to basketball nowadays, to me, because there's an actual community. There's no money involved. Some places there's no money involved. There's no NIL, nothing like that. It's literally just coaches, parents, communities putting their all into these kids and making sure that they can get to those professional levels, NIL, back, NBA, all that stuff. And even if they don't make it, just making sure that, they end up like me, that, that didn't play college, but, uh, seeing inspiration from playing in high school and having that affect them for the rest of their lives.
I love
Definitely.
that outlook that perspective of like high school basketball is almost the purest form of the game in today's basketball world because of the
Hmm.
fact that the money, the in some cases, like we said, the money, the glam, the social media following, all of that stuff isn't fully developed yet for certain players where it could be. And
Yeah.
then obviously the community backing of like, you know, obviously in college, like, yeah, the baseball team, football team, soccer team, they may come and support, but it's different than like, man, these are my guys that I go to lunch with. These are my
Yeah.
guys that I, wake up, ride the bus with if you're still riding bus, you know what I'm saying? So like
Hmm.
I like that outlook of, there's still a wholesome aspect to high school basketball that some levels do miss.
Yeah. Yeah. I love high school, man. I think it's mostly because of the experience that I had, of winning a state title and putting your all into getting that one goal. Each and every year, I bring that to coaching as well. There's nothing that really drives me more, out of all the things that I do, and just making sure that my kids are straight. And um, we do workouts a lot throughout the whole year, not just when it's mandatory. You know what I mean? It's so special what we're building down there at East, and so I know one of these days we're going to host a trophy, get a ring, so these guys can feel the same way that I did almost 10 years ago. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I kind of wanted to ask, I saw in your story the other day you were at a AAU tournament, and I know you coach obviously high school basketball at high school. I kind of want to
Yeah.
hear your opinion on the state of AAU basketball right now at the high school level.
Well, number one, most importantly, I think my overarching point that I feel like a lot of people missed was that I feel like AAU is more oversaturated. Now, on my story, I know I said abolish AAU basketball. I think, I troll. Okay. So one of the things I do is troll. All right. I wanted to get the point across, but I may have went too far. But anyway, like I said, um, it's too oversaturated, man. Like back when I played, and I'm not trying to talk like I played like 20 years ago. I'm not an old head, but like when I played, at least I don't think it was this oversaturated with teams. And I'm not saying that kids shouldn't be allowed to play and find outlets to play. But when it comes to AAU basketball, I think it must be sacred. It has to be kind of like what high school basketball is. When people look at high school basketball, they don't look at it as just like Well, some people do, depending on what level you play on. Like, a lot of teams have a C team, and sometimes the C team doesn't take stuff serious and whatever. But even JV basketball, varsity basketball, freshman basketball, a lot of those kids take it so seriously, super seriously. And it should be, you know what I mean? But AAU basketball is not taken seriously enough unless you are at the big circuit teams. Um, and so I think there has to be a real system in place. I don't think there's a system in AAU basketball, and that's the problem. Um, all these tournaments, like, recruit look, not to throw shade or anything, but allowing so many teams into your tournament, you get results like what I witnessed in person, which is Bradley Bill Elite playing some, lower level team, beating them by 100 points. And you know how much I paid to see that? $50. That's not cool, bruh. I'm sorry. There's no way. There is no, oh, everybody should get the, chance, and maybe those kids are gonna be better off in the end. No, they're not. No, they're not. These kids nowadays are not. Those same kids was on the floor watching RWE, not giving a damn about, losing by 100 points. Like, what are we talking about? It doesn't do Bradley Bill Elite any good. It doesn't do the team that got their ass kicked by 100 points any good. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about AAU basketball. It's all over the place.
And I can agree. I can agree on that, especially from the money aspect too. I mean, just to go to one, let's say like an 8 a.m. game to go watch your kid play, or you have two games in one day, you're gonna be paying 50, $60 just to go watch a basketball game. Imagine you're the parents of the kids for the kids that got beat by 100. You got to pay 50
Hmm.
bucks for that. It's just I do think it's overpriced. I mean, a high school basketball game you can get in for like $8, $10.
Yeah. Or you can get a yearly pass if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
They have that option. It's just all over the place, man. Like, I was looking around, like looking at the parents, saying like, no one's upset. Everybody's just like okay with this. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's insane.
I like that point a lot. I think that there's I don't know the way I want to word this, but it's like core development, you know? So when you're starting off playing AAU and travel basketball, I think when you're, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, like, yeah, you wake up, you play an 8 a.m. game on Sunday, you play an EYBL team, you get beat by 100. That's your
Yeah.
core development. You needed to lose by 100 points when you were a little kid to realize there are a lot of people out here that are really good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when you make that transition to high school basketball, there has to be a level of realism of like, okay, is this something I'm really trying to take seriously? Do I want to see myself growing? And then placing yourself in those realms and levels to allow yourself to do that. And I think where your point is of how it's oversaturated now is there's no fine line for that. It's like we're just out here playing to say we played a game today, but there was no real growth that happened throughout that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shout out to RWE if they wanted to come on the podcast. I believe is that the Rod Wave team.
Yep, the Rodway
Yeah, they're like
team.
super super cool. You know how they're blowing up over social media and stuff. But like, I think that element is kind of polluting the game almost in a sense of we're doing this more for the clip, more for the content rather than kids really trying to develop and get better and get themselves to the next level because you're more often than not going to have kids who are sad at the end of the day like man like why I don't got no offers or why I don't got
Mm-hmm.
nobody texting me like well it's because you wanted to watch RWE after losing by 100 points.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
like a lot of the feedback I've been getting is, well, as long as you're playing in the live period, you're fine. But I've been to live periods, and a lot of those coaches is not watching these games. They're coming to watch like, whoever they think is the top players. You know what I mean? And that's it. And so it still doesn't eliminate my point that it's just too oversaturated. It's way too oversaturated with teams. It don't matter if you're playing in that live period. You're not getting seen. Most of y'all is not getting seen. They scamming you. I'm just being honest. So, it at the end of the day, they need to cut down on the teams. Not all the teams, because I think there's some teams that do it right. You brought up Victor Williams. They do it right. I didn't know that they practice like 4 times a week. That's high school basketball. That means that your coaches are putting in every single dollar and every single amount of time into the kids. That's going to matter, and that's going to translate to the college coaches because the work's going to get seen. Nowadays, some of these kids only practice like 1 time a week, and then that practice, they're just shooting around. Like it's not, that's not real. You're not going to get seen doing that type of stuff.
Want to give a big shout out to Vic. Shout
Yeah,
out Vic, man.
Vic
One
with
of
Hmm.
the
it.
one of the real OGs in the Kansas City basketball area, still keeping it pure. So shout out Vic for that for sure.
Need those dudes, man. Need
Absolutely.
those dudes in the city area.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you were a college, hypothetically, so if you were a college coach, would you go, if you were recruiting for a college, would you go to a high school basketball game or the AAU tournament?
I wouldn't eliminate an AAU tournament just because, um, some of the circuits have really good teams and really good competition. Okay, so I'm not eliminating AAU basketball as a whole. Um, but I would love to go to a high school basketball game for sure. I think the atmospheres are better. I think you get to see how your players that you want to recruit, you get to see how they play under pressure in front of big crowds. I think that hasn't been no one really mentions that when it comes to recruiting kids. Like it's okay. I mean, it's kids can have skill, kids can be good, but I've seen a lot of kids well under the pressure of just playing high school basketball and they're really good kids. You know what I mean? And so I would definitely want to go to more of a high school basketball setting if there's a good crowd, good setting, two good teams playing against each other, and to see who I'm recruiting, like see if they can handle that. You know.
Yeah, no, I like the way you say that because like for me when I like coming out of high school, like honestly, not too many college coaches really came to high school basketball games so much, which I feel like would translate better to the college level. Like you said, you're playing in front of a crowd, you're playing in front of there's an extra added pressure than a 8 a.m. AAU game that everyone's half asleep in, you know what I mean? So I do
Yeah.
think there's a more focus on recruiting like going to high school basketball games more because at least for me in my experience, most of my recruiting was done through AAU.
Hmm.
I
Which
agree.
I understand at at some, like, I understand a little bit just because their season is going on while our season is going on in high school basketball. But like send like an assistant, or something to the game and go watch some of these kids play. We're gonna run some of the same similar sets that they do. Like we steal a lot of the college sets, especially in the local area. Like we steal a lot of y'all sets um to fit our game because the our players are getting smarter. High school basketball, like they're getting smarter, they're getting better, they have more skill than what they've had in the past. So, um, I think it'd be great for some of the college coaches to come religiously come watch high school basketball. It's going to translate more than AAU basketball.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you're not going on a college basketball game, hitting a sham god, step back three
No,
within an
get off
offense.
it.
A lot more, it's a
Get
No,
lot
off.
more structured. You know what I mean?
Get
yeah,
off.
no,
Um,
I
I,
agree.
Before we continue to transition more into your journey of entrepreneurship and the pickleball league and things like that, I want to ask one more question specifically on coaching. Has there been a moment throughout your coaching career? Obviously, you've been doing this for, I mean, close to 10 years now. I mean, you said you started coaching very young. So, has there been a moment in your coaching tenure where you've been like, man, this is the immediate impact, or this is why I do this kind of moment?
Hey, 10 years,
Hmm.
bro's not too old yet. Bro's not too. He's only
I'm
25.
about to say,
He's only 25.
He's 25,
Only
but he started
25.
coaching when he was 19, Zay. Like
yeah,
that's
5, 6 years, yeah.
5, 6 years, man. He's got some skin in the game. He's got some skin in the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, sure. 10's just starting to make you sound like he's like in his 30s almost.
Okay, word.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Which the kids, they are starting to call me Unc. You know what I'm saying? They always said 25 is unk. I said, dang, that's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
We
But
talk about that all the time of what is the tier of unk status to big bro to OG.
they think it's 25.
Man.
So I just hit
Closer
25
to
and
25 than I am 15. So
I'd say Unk's like 30, 32 plus.
yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have a child and you have a little brother, that makes you an uncle. So like my older brother has a child, I am that child's uncle. Unless that's the case,
Mm.
I'm not nobody's uncle. Like I'm 21 years old. I'm my man, shout out my man. I'm his uncle, but I ain't nobody else's uncle.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But what moment? Man, I would say every time we do the banquet is it's kind of a moment of like, dang, like because I don't know how everybody else does it, but at East, um, and I didn't know. I don't know if I feel like East does it pretty special. I'm not trying to put down any other high school, but they really honor the coaches a lot every single year. I never forget the first time we did the banquet, my first year, and I'm like, man, I don't picture myself anywhere else but East. Like it's crazy. But seeing the kids go up there and give speeches, seniors and stuff like that to the coaches and the parents, and then what I've started to do the last 3 or 4 years is make a montage, a video dedicated to the seniors. And so, seeing how they look at it and appreciate it, um, man, that's really where I sit back and it's like, man, this is why I do what I do. This is why we hunt for a state title every single year, even though we didn't make the goal. We're just gonna keep doing it, keep trying, because me being in this community has affected them in a positive way. So I must give it back every single day by giving them my all, just by, showing up. A lot of coaches don't even, show up for their kids and, um, the after hours, putting in the work. Like I said, even when it's not mandatory, like that stuff matters to them. That stuff matters to the parents. And that's when I have a moment of reflection. Like this is why I do what I do.
100%.
So
And it's kind of cool, like you mentioned earlier, you're a firefighter, EMT, and also a basketball coach. Like they're both forms of service and giving back. So it's cool that you find a passion, just kind of giving back to your community, giving back to the Kansas City area. Want to make
It's
the transition now into the pickleball league, the Black Pickleball Club of Kansas City. Is that the correct? Did I say that name right? Is that how it is?
yes,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Where did
Mhm.
where did this ambition come from? Where did this idea come from for you?
So I started playing pickleball about 5 years ago. Started playing it at the fire station, um, and I would get my ass kicked all the time. Um, Shout out to Chris Wing. Um, he used to kill me all the time on the court, and that's what really drove my ambition for the game of pickleball in general, not just to start a club. I really wanted to get good at it, so I spent a lot of time just trying to perfect my game by just playing different people and different levels and going out and playing by myself eventually, just because a lot of the people at my station moved on to different stations that played. So I had to challenge myself and just go out and just play a chicken and pickle or an open plays anywhere they would have it. Um, and me doing that, I realized and I looked around and I was like, I'm the only black guy in here. And it's like, I don't know how a lot of people feel, but in those settings for me, it could be a little nerve wracking simply because pickleball is more of a predominantly white sport, to be honest, or a country club type sport. Um, it feels almost exclusive a lot of the times, especially when you're playing with a lot of good players. So that's what really drove me to create my own club. I was watching the 520 podcast. I don't know if y'all watched that, Jeff Teague and them.
Shout out Teague and
Um,
B Him and them guys.
Yep, yep. Hey, B hand hilarious. Let me just say that.
Real life
But
funny guy.
Yeah. They were talking about live golf. I don't know if you guys heard of that. They had an experience to go down there and check that out. It's something with ESPN or something like that. And they were like, "Yeah, we should create like our own like black golf club." And I was like, okay, like so, like what can I find that can create my own, I guess, black club? And I don't see too many African Americans playing pickleball, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna. As soon as I get ideas in my head, I have to act them out in some way. I don't know how you guys are, but any idea that I have, I gotta act on it.
Spot
It's
check. How it was for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely, man. So that's what drove me to do it for real, for real.
That's dope, man. That's obviously I love how you take inspiration from just the smallest things of like, man, I was just tapped into a pod, but like it's as simple as that. I think, like Zay just mentioned, of us starting this podcast, like we had an idea and we just kind of jumped on it, you know, and by doing so, I think that that's what speaks to, you know, some of your influences you talked about earlier, of like Kanye West, like um, just being an
Hmm.
ambitious person, you know. To I want to ask this next question though, of what was the hardest part about starting the league?
Um, it was actually much easier than I thought. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the hardest part really was trying to get my idea out there to a certain facility that would have us. Um, but other than that, I thought it would just be like an intimate thing, like maybe about 10 to 15 of some of my closest friends, or maybe like people that they know, and we'll just go out and just like, you know, play pickleball. But I posted one TikTok and it blew like up more than I thought. And so from then on, Deanna Hustle, she is from Hot 103 Jam. She even commented on it and say, "Hey, we need to have you on the radio." And I was like, okay, like it happened so fast, like the growth of it, without even having our first event yet. And then,
Mhm.
once we got a venue to host us, it was 100 people that came out, 100 people flat that came out the first event. And ever since then, it's just been growing and growing. And I'd say it's been I think the hardest part really, and I know I just said what the hardest part was, but thinking about it, it's the business side of things, because I've never had a business before, like a real business before. Learning what a LLC is. They don't teach you this, in high school or nothing like that. So learning what that is, and how to grow that business, maintain it, taxes, crazy, like so. That's been the hardest part. I'll change my answer. That's the hardest part.
For
For sure.
sure.
And where you guys located at? If you select to plug the league, where you guys at?
Yeah, so I'm actually headed there in about 2 hours. We are at Casey Pickle Club at Arrowhead Stadium, or not Arrowhead Stadium, near Arrowhead Stadium. Um, used to be called SW19 at the stadium, if people are confused by that. But we're out there every Sunday from 4:30 to 6:30. And then on Wednesday nights, we're at Clam Park in KCK. Real important that I got that deal done, just because it's in my community. And we are working on getting classes done there. So if you don't know how to play for real, you can go there and take a class. And we have an instructor that'll teach you how to play. Even on Sundays, we have beginner courts for people that don't know how to play. And if you don't know how to play, I'll give you a short tutorial. Now, the thing is, I'm not an expert, so I'm not about to like teach you how the skills and all that. I learned by just playing all the time and just reps. But like drilling and stuff like that, um, yeah, I'm not a pro. You know what I'm saying? In my head, I feel like I am, but in my game, I know that I'm not a pro. So I leave that, the teaching and all that stuff, step by step like that. I teach, I leave it to the pros and instructors and stuff like that. But even on Sundays, you can come and learn a little bit.
Super dope. And where would you say that you see the league, the club, the league going long term? So let's say we look a year down the line, 5 years down the line. Obviously, this is something you're putting your time and your effort into. So, what are some short term and long term goals that you have for the club?
Um, I think the number one thing I would say is opening up our own facility. I've had conversations with people about that, and I have a few ideas in mind that will come into fruition in the next 5 years for sure. And then second thing is putting it in high schools. Like I think this is a sport that can be coached and taught to kids and played at a really high level, even in high school, so that maybe we can bring it into the college game as well. Like pickleball is so fun, but there's a lot of technical things that people can learn, especially kids early on, that can make them like beasts, like when they get older, because it's the fastest growing sport in America. So with that is going to come more money for the pros and stuff like that. Like we want kids to have opportunities like that. So why not put it in high school? The first time I ever seen it was in a PE class. Nah, I think that should be like an actual sport. Um, and that's another thing is that people don't really take it. The masses don't take pickleball seriously like that because they look at Chicken and Pickle or Serve or all these other places, and it's an opportunity to take the family and have a good time, which I understand. But when I play, I take it like it's the NBA Finals. Like I'm serious. Like it's serious to me. Like I'm so. Once you know how to play, you get dialed in. Like
Do you
for
wear
real,
a
for real. Like
headband?
there's no games, huh?
Do you wear a headband when you play, or like arm
I
sleeves?
probably should.
Do you wear a headband, arm sleeves, or you just like go out there? You feel me?
I Yeah, I don't have any like gear like that. We do
Okay,
have merch. My
that's
club has merch, but nah, but I should to let people know I take this seriously. You know what I mean?
no, you're not playing. Like that's the only
Like
way. I feel like when I'm hooping, like if I see somebody come out here, they headband, or I'm like, hold on, like he either trolling or he might have
I'm
something that
decent.
I don't have.
yeah, bro. Like, have y'all played before?
Yeah,
Pickleball?
I'm
Yeah.
glad you touched on the point of high school because I'm similar way. The first time it was ever introduced to me was through PE. I was just random 2 weeks. This is our circuit. This is what we're gonna do for the next 2 weeks is play pickleball.
Yeah, man. Like, it's a great sport, man. Once you really, I feel like y'all should like really try to like learn how to play. I'm telling you, there's nothing like you. You're a hooper, right, Emmanuel?
Hmm.
Like we've all been there. Like there's nothing like being in the zone of, and I'm not even just saying like scoring, like sitting down playing defense or talking or like you know, um, um, moving offensively, stuff like that on the basketball court. Like there's nothing like being in a zone of like I need to do what I have to do to win. It's the same thing with like pickleball. I swear, like I just played in a tournament yesterday. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing. You know what I mean? It was like I'm so dialed in on just like getting a stop or like scoring a point. Like I'm telling you, it's great.
100%. And just like long term on your body, like it's a fun sport, gets out competitiveness, keeps you in shape. So
Hmm.
it's a really good sport. And I like what you're doing, as you mentioned earlier. Like if you go to a pickleball court right now, it is a predominantly white sport. So what you're doing, is doing a service to the sport to make it a more inclusive sport and get more eyes on the sport, get more people playing, which hopefully you can push it to you start seeing it more in high school, start seeing it more in the college level because more people are playing, and don't feel
Hmm.
intimidated to go uh, play pickleball if you're a minority of some sort.
Yeah.
Hmm. And I also want to say that even at my clubs and what we do on Wednesday nights, I think one of the backlashes I faced is white people can't come or any other race can't come. That's not true. Okay. In my mission statement, I said perfectly clear that if you are any other race, you are 100% welcome, 1000%. Especially if you want to support the cause, which is to introduce the game to more African Americans. That's
Mhm.
the point of it all. But I'm always down to compete with anybody, when it comes to my club. It's gonna grow it more, and it's gonna make it more competitive. And and also I've had white people come, and obviously it's predominantly black, and they come up to me and they're like, I understand what you meant. Like with me going and playing with more predominantly white. So it's like it's a lesson for everybody, but as long as there's inclusion in it, then that's beautiful. So, uh, so yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah, that's dope, man. Gonna transition from the pickleball league now. What's your at on the Instagram, and we can tag your socials and plug your socials in this video or file with you. What's your Instagram for the pickleball league?
For the pickleball club, it is BPC of KC.
Okay. Make sure everyone goes and follows, likes, and follows the content on there. When me and E are back this summer, we're gonna have to come out to your place and come play. Maybe shoot a little video with you or something, and get a little
Yeah,
game or something. I think that'd be dope.
100%.
absolutely, man. Always
Hey,
welcome.
hey, Brandon, Zay, we get our guest on here. He be real calm, cool, collected. Make sure you follow. Hey, if you're watching this, stop playing. Follow the BPC Club on Instagram now,
Now, right now,
right
right
now.
now.
If you seeing this at the timestamp that we're on in this video, because we got more conversation and we're definitely gonna plug, but y'all make sure y'all go show some love and support because at the Easy Convo, we gonna make sure we do so as well.
I
100%.
appreciate that.
So
100%.
yeah, man, you've got a lot going on. Obviously, you have a lot of very multifaceted. Got a lot of things going on. How do you manage your time with all these different things?
Man, like I said, my work schedule, my full-time schedule is 24 hours on and 48 off. So I just try to make sure in those 48 hours, and even in those 24 hours, because we have a lot of downtime that we could get into. I just try to make sure that it's curated towards making sure my kids are good at the school, and then making sure the business is going well. Um, that's where all my time goes. It's People ask me how I do it. I mean, I just when you're doing what you love, it just doesn't feel like work. You know, it just none of this feels like work at all. When I'm doing hobby wise. Now, when I'm at work, I mean, it might feel like work at some point, but like even then, with all the downtime, it never really feels like work at all for me. I love it, man. I love what I do. And that's how I manage it, just by loving it. If I didn't love it, then I'd probably find something else to do. What else can I do? You know? So
And would you say that throughout your life that have you found that discipline or some of the motivations that you've experienced have helped you along the way more, or maybe both of them?
I would say both. Um, Discipline, I've learned discipline by working out. I didn't really have too much discipline before I started challenging myself to go to the gym and lift. That was the biggest thing for me. Um, just starting at my apartment gym and then just going out whatever gym, man. And just like because I used to hate working out. I really did. The hardest I ever worked out was my senior year just because of basketball. Other than that, man, I hated it. I really did. I really did. But yeah, I think working out really developed my discipline for things, and helped me out in life. Yeah.
Sure. No, that's funny you mentioned. I was having that conversation with someone the other day. I think just by like hearing about how much someone works out, or when they go to the gym, get a lift in every day. I think that says a lot about someone. Like you can tell a lot about someone if they're disciplined, and getting up every day, going on a walk, going on a run, working out. I think you can tell a lot about a person because it transitions into everything in life, as you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Definitely agree.
Next question. So, what's something you believe in? This is kind of more of a broad question. What's something you believe in that some people might disagree with?
Hmm. Hmm.
Roman Reigns
Man.
is champion tonight.
Oh yeah.
We can start there. We can start. Roman should walk out of Mania as a champion.
Oh, absolutely.
Questions, man. Should-
I believe in my tribal chief. I don't know if a lot of people believe, but I believe. I mean, I feel like I have a lot of takes and a lot of controversial opinions. Um, but I think I would say I believe in God. I'm not saying I think a lot of people would disagree, but I believe that God has really put all these hobbies that I've had um, into the back of my head over time, over these past few years, and has really given me these ideas to really push out and get out there. Um, so that's probably a basic answer, I feel like, but I believe that God is the one that's really helped me out. And it's, a lot of things I struggle with nowadays when it comes to my faith is um, acknowledging that more. And it's not just myself, you know? Um, but yeah, that'd be my answer. I feel like I have a lot of answers to that. I can't think though.
That was a good one. It's a broad question. I can't put you on the spot.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good question.
Appreciate that. Um, Before we switch, I'm gonna let E take the reins on the next section because I know he has a little more knowledge on it than I do.
You know what
Um,
time it is. You
yeah.
know
Yeah,
what time it is.
yeah.
My last
And,
question for you before we transition to that. Sorry, I didn't mean. Were you gonna start?
nah.
I just got
I'm
a quick one more
excited.
question. You mentioned
Hmm.
earlier, a lot of people have ideas but never actually put them into fruition. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
a lot of people just talk and say they want to do this, want to do that, but never actually do it. What do you feel like separates you from people that have those ideas and don't make them happen? What do you think separates you in that aspect that you actually go and make these ideas happen that you have? Sorry, I didn't really put that the best way, but
No, it's okay.
I'm trying to think of a better way to put it. If someone's like stuck in life, what do you feel like gives you an edge on them and allows
Hmm.
you to succeed? If that makes sense.
I want to be great. Like, I want to be. I have a desire to be remembered. I have like countless like examples um, that were before me. My uncle, I'll never forget this. I think this is really what really drives my ambition to be great and remembered is that I feel like my uncle was so great. Shout out to him. Um,
I'm
I'm
sorry, this
sorry,
dude's
brother.
trolling me for my question. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I'm
He's
sorry.
trolling me because I couldn't get my question out right.
I'm sorry. I
oh, it's
can't.
okay. I thought it was good.
I can't.
I
I didn't
thought
think
he
it was
asked
that
it
bad.
well.
What happened was I looked at the script and I was reading it, but then I looked off of it and I kind of got like flipped it around of what I was gonna say.
Oh, I
But
definitely, I got whatever it was.
I'm 100% sorry for interrupting you and your answer there.
No, it's okay.
This is this is an ongoing back and forth between Zayd and I of making sure when we ask our guests questions we're fluent and things like that. So it's kind of a I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you
No,
continue. I
like,
shouldn't have.
sorry,
I should have
sorry.
kept it solid. I should have
no,
kept it solid.
it's okay, bro. What I like about this is even though you guys are following the script, it feels authentic. You know what I mean? It doesn't
Yes.
feel fake or anything. So, like, you know, no worries. I'm good, bro.
Okay, good.
But
I just was interrupting you. I started laughing. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not laughing at what you're
no,
talking about.
I was like, damn, like, did I say something?
No, no, it had nothing. It had nothing to do with what you were saying. It was more about I'm trying to keep moving fluently, and and Zayd's like the thoughts in the back of my mind now. So I gotta. That's
That's
all it is.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. Uh, but growing up, I had a really popular uncle in my community. He was a cop. He was really big in his church community and stuff like that. And he had tragically passed away when I was about 10, like 2011, something like that. So seeing how many people came to his funeral and how many people cared and how many people knew him, it's like that really inspired me, even in his death. Um, And I've had others, that have been really big in my community that I can look up to, like Morris Letcher, out in Piper and the KCK community. There's just so many examples that I could say, but um, seeing them, and then obviously the inspirations that I see on TV and stuff like that, like I just have this burning desire to be great and to leave a mark in my community and the world. Period. Um, it's just something that's burning, and I can't get rid of it. Can't at all.
Man,
So that would
That's
give me
a
the
that's a
edge.
that's a beautiful thing to not knock, man. Like we've been talking about this whole time is that this burning ambition that you do have of like, man, you feel something, you want to go after it. Like, I'm gonna keep going back to your point on inspiration you took from Kanye West. Like, most people are just like, man, he's a rapper, he's an artist, but you heard the small things that he said and like, took something from it. And I think that that's a lost art sometimes in people's lives of like we can take a little bit of something from everyone and that doesn't change who we are, but it kind of makes and grows our outlook and perspective on the life that we're living. It
Mm.
grows us in a way.
Yeah,
um but yeah,
absolutely.
man, I fully agree with what you were saying. You know what time it is though. You know what time it is.
Yeah,
You know what we're doing.
absolutely. We can get into it.
For those of you who are listening to this and do not know what we talk about when we say you know what time it is, Brandon and I are huge WWE fans. And this is something for me personally that I grew up watching. I just love the sport. And I think that that's going to be my first question for you is kind of where did this enthusiasm for WWE come from? If I'm not mistaken, you host live events and things like that in the Kansas City area.
I do. And I can get into this after this, my first answer, but um, yeah, so my grandpa was a huge fan growing up. He used to always go down to Memorial Hall and wherever they would have wrestling events. Used to see guys like Ric Flair and Andre the Giant and all those guys. And, he got me into it. Um, it's funny, like I don't recall us ever watching it together, but it felt like we were just as big into it as, as each other. So, but yeah, like that's how I got into it, and I've been hooked ever since, man. It's the greatest form of live entertainment. It really is. There's nothing else like professional wrestling when done right. When done right, key that's key because a lot of BS be out there. But we can talk about that, but yeah, yeah.
100%. Who would you say if you had to create a Mount Rushmore of this is a two-part question, so I'll ask the first part first. A Mount Rushmore of four wrestlers that embody wrestling, professional wrestling for you.
My God. Okay, I would say Roman Reigns,
Mhm.
obviously. Okay. Number two, you want me to give an explanation as to each?
It's your space to do so, yes, sir. If you want to, you got
So
it.
that people can understand, Roman Reigns is my number one on the Mount Rushmore because I've never seen a superstar embody. I think his promo skills is good. People don't know what promo is. That's talking on the mic. I think his in ring work is spectacular. I think his mannerisms, facial expressions, all that stuff, people don't understand, and I don't understand why people try to differentiate cinema from professional wrestling. It's the same thing. They're acting in the ring. They're selling moves. They are talking on the mic. You know what I mean? Like that is acting, and it takes one take. That's why it differentiates from any form of live entertainment. But anyway, never seen a wrestler have all those things and then save the company the way he did with telling stories with the bloodline. It's the greatest story ever told. If you guys want to understand why I like professional wrestling, look up the bloodline and then follow the storyline. It's like watching a TV show. It's like watching a movie. It's the same thing. It literally is. It's how you I think people get scared of it because it's a form of combat sports, but it's fake. And it's like, yo, I don't know if you've been inside a ring before. I have. And the selling of moves to me is the hardest thing that you could do. It really is because you have to hold yourself back, and that could cause injuries. That could cause like a lot of things to fail. My point is, I've never seen a professional wrestler like Roman Reigns that I can obviously look up to in his character, that embodies who I am. I feel like that's my guy, man. Like that's my guy. So Roman, I would say John Cena, just because I grew up on John, loved John to death. I think he embodies professional wrestling just because, you know, he's the franchise man. He carried the company. He can put on a good promo, put classic matches up together, and he's a 17-time world champion. Like, come on. Um, I would say number three, I would go The Rock. Nobody has had a meteoric rise like The Rock ever in professional wrestling. Um, he is he's the standard when it comes to entertainment, you know, beyond professional wrestling. That's the standard. If I was a professional wrestler, I would want to be like The Rock. Get in 2 to 3 years, take off, go to Hollywood. Like, why not? Like that's fire. So I would say him, and then I'm it's between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. All right.
I can't be mad at. I cannot be mad at that. I cannot be mad at that list.
Yeah.
I was hoping. I was hoping that we wouldn't hear nothing. I was hoping that it wouldn't be somebody that was a wild take per se.
Oh
But
no, I'm very safe with that. Very safe.
but no Steve Austin.
Whew. You know, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. No Steve Austin for me. I just think The Rock is. I'd rather watch The Rock, bro. Like I understand the glass shatter and all that, the lore of that. I understand, but when it comes to entertainment, I just resonate with The Rock better, man. It's,
Well,
that's my guy.
now that I know it's The Rock, I'm gonna scratch off one of these questions I had for this next segment we want to get
Okay.
into. Um, but this next segment we want to get into, we're trying to have sections catered for each guest that we have on, and this section is catered specifically for you, Brandon, and we wanted to call it the easy choice. In the easy
Okay.
choice, we have a selection of hypotheticals, a choice of this or that, a bunch of different scenarios we're going to give you, and you just have to make the easy choice.
I like that. I like that. All right.
So my first question for you here is you get $1 million to put, I'm sorry, I messed that up, completely butchered it. You get a
Okay.
$1 million but can't post content for a year, or you get 100K initially and you can post freely.
Mm, damn. I'm gonna have to go to 100K just because man, I post content every day just because of my business. I can't shut down. You know what I'm saying? I can't shut down at all. I would love to take the 1 million if I wasn't as active, but I'd be active. You know,
Yeah,
so I
gotta
gotta
be
take the
wrestling.
yeah. But taking the 100K and just putting it away,
That's not
absolutely.
crazy. No, that's not
Like,
crazy at
Yeah,
all.
well,
I feel like that
yeah.
was an easy choice. Next one I got
Mhm.
for you is you can only eat at one of these genres, or what is it, genres of food? You only have one of these, right?
Mhm.
KC barbecue for a year or KC Mexican for a year.
Oh, damn, that's tough, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Because fun fact, I don't know if you know this, but KCK is the taco capital of the United States.
I
wow,
didn't.
is it really? I
That's
did not
actually
know that.
that's a
Look it
cool.
up. Look it up. I guarantee. Look it up. Look it up. I would have to go. I would have to go Mexican food just because I think I cook some really good ribs, so I'll be fine.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
This next question is really gonna reflect your in-ring ball knowledge here. Would you rather win by pinfall or submission?
Oh, submission, bro.
Okay, come on.
Submission.
We love a
He's got to get
technique.
that tap out, man. Or at least, if he can't get that hand raised, nah, he's dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get to claim that. I put you to sleep. Like, yeah, yeah,
In your
submission for
opinion,
sure.
what's the best music genre?
Uh, mm, I, mm, all time, I would have to go R&B. If I would have to go R&B just because, especially the past few years with hip hop. Hip hop has seen some highs, but it's seen some really extreme lows.
That's fair.
I feel like R&B from beginning to now hasn't been always great, but it's always been like a steady. You'll get a classic album or two or five, 10 like every year, you know. So yeah, I'd go R&B.
Okay. You've been in a wrestling ring before. What's the hardest bump to take?
Jeez, I would say, damn. Well, I've only really taken like not that many bumps. I would say for me, like, because the ropes are really hard. People don't
Most
understand, so
people don't
bouncing off the
understand that. Those
ropes.
ropes look very flimsy, but those are ropes now.
Yeah, I would say, damn, bro. I'd say like bouncing off the ropes full speed into like a clothesline. Nah, that shit hurts. That shit hurts. Like I said, like I haven't done like anything too crazy. I plan on going to a wrestling ring this summer and actually training. So
Mhm.
that's a goal of mine. But from what I've done so far, that hurts. It hurts.
Last one
So
for you. We're bringing another $1 million investment back to the question booth here. You get $1 million investor of your pickleball league, but you can't post on social media for a year. Or you walk away with no $1 million.
and I could
You can
post
post,
for you.
but you don't get $1 million.
I would take the $1 million investor for sure. You know, I think I have a lot more. I didn't even say this. I gotta plug this. Can I plug something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm actually at District KC. I'm not at my house. I am at a recording studio right now. Okay. So not in this studio, but in this facility, I'm doing vinyl listening parties. Um, and it's called Move the Needle. That's what it's called. If you guys want to follow it, it's Move the Needle KC, I believe is the app. And that to me is probably going to be more lucrative for me personally than my pickleball because everybody likes music. Everybody enjoys music. And so we're doing that every one Thursday a month, basically, and two vinyls a night. Uh, Basically, just coming out here, ticketed event, playing two vinyls for the night, having to be in like a more interactive experience when you're listening to music. Like I'm gonna have a mic and talking to people like, have you heard the album before and stuff like that. And then we're listening and having drinks and then talking about the album after, and then we get into the next album. So like I wanted to get more away from the DJ sets, and I collect vinyls. And there was one person that does these things in Seattle, and so I was like, damn, like I we don't do that in KC, so that's gonna be the real, like not the real, because I love my other ideas, my clubs, but I'm really locked in on that currently, which is why I'm here as well. So yeah, yeah. So $1 million.
Easy money.
No,
And
yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope.
that concludes the Easy Choice segment specifically for our guest today, Mr. Brandon Jackson. We appreciate you for doing that with us.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh, is
Yeah,
that conclude the interview or?
No, no, no. Just the segment. We got a couple more things talk about here, and then we'll let you you know.
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta ask. I know this might be a touchy subject for you mentioned it when you were talking about it earlier, but for WWE fans, anyone that says I'll be honest, like I'm a MMA, kickboxing. I've been watching like the RAF, like the new wrestling little league they have.
Hmm.
For anyone out there that calls WWE fake fighting, as you mentioned, what do you gotta say to
Watch your mouth, bro.
Yeah, I echo that. Like,
Watch,
first of all,
watch how
watch your tone.
watch how you talking out here.
Yeah, like watch your tone, watch your mouth. But I would say, listen, I know fighting is, a hard thing to do to get up every day and put your body through that. I understand. But man, I think being a wrestler, a WWE wrestler, is much harder. I'm just gonna be honest. Just because, again, you have the acting aspect of it. You have the in-ring aspect of it, the combat, but also, the training to move fluidly in your movements so you're not hurting the other guy or hurting yourself. I'm telling y'all, like it's not as easy as it looks. A lot of people make it easy just because, they might be born into wrestling and they have fluid movements like that. But being a basketball guy and, you know, other avenues of my life and getting into the ring, it's so much harder than what people think. And then you gotta go act. Like literally you have to act and then sell a match with your words and your mannerisms. And there's one take. Like there's no tomorrow. There's one take. If you mess up those lines, they're cooking you on Twitter. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing like it. So I would say being a wrestler is much harder. And you're performing in front of more people.
I would say this too, Zay, to kind of back up Brandon here, because we're kind of coming out the same boat here. And the difficulty I feel like comes from the travel. These guys have to travel and perform almost 2 3 times a week, because we see the Monday nights and Friday nights, and then if there's a pay-per-view on Sunday and Saturday, we'll see that. But these guys are also hosting, live shows in small towns on Tuesday, Thursday, and then sometimes even Saturdays and things like that. So
Hmm.
the travel that these guys have to endure, the being away from their families for almost, close to 365 days a year, is where the difficulty really comes in on their bodies and the injuries that they face. Some dudes are having, 20, 23 surgeries after their career because of what they've put their body through for their whole, tenured. But whereas the UFC, you get MMA, you get 6 7 8 9 weeks, or sometimes even months to train for the big fight. That's obviously your body will in that moment probably go through anything much worse than could happen in one match in the WWE. But the overtime aspect of it is, I'll give you two examples. Like Anderson Silva, he's a fighter, but he's healthy. Like he's got bumped around, but he's healthy. He's doing well. He can talk to you. Whereas you got some WWE guys who can't even put a sentence together because of all of the bumps and bruises that they've taken over 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in the business. Um, so that's where I think the
Yeah.
difference comes between the MMA and then the WWE. I know that wasn't
See,
my question, but like I said when we first started, watch how you
watch your
talking
mouth?
about the WWE. Watch how you talking, not even WWE specifically, because I watch all professional wrestling. Watch how you talking about professional wrestling.
see, I gotta virtually shake your hand for that.
Locked
That
in. We
was
locked in.
that was good. That was almost like a promo.
See,
No, that was fire, bro. I'm not a WWE hater. I just had to ask because that's a misconception some people have. They're like, oh, it's
100%.
just fake fighting. Like they're not out there actually, punching someone for real. It's scripted and all that. But
Yeah.
I like how you guys put it. There's there's a storyline to it. There's an acting aspect to it. There's a physical aspect to it. Like, and over time, obviously, that's it's taxing. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Zayd, if you have a nice little home run for us, man, we can take it there.
okay, yeah, I do actually. Sorry, I got a couple here. All right, I like this one. Actually, I'm gonna do two questions to finish out. First off, uh, piece of advice for someone that feels stuck out there right now, you
Mhm.
know, and whatever that is in their life. What would you tell them?
Um, I would say I don't want to give a cliche answer, but I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say go to the gym. Go to the gym, lift, go do something with your life in the gym. Because to me personally, I didn't have this much confidence, I feel like, before I went to the gym and I worked on my body and I worked on myself. Um, there's just something, there's just a transition that happens, I feel like, when you start working on yourself um and so if you're stuck, yeah, I would say go to the gym. Go lift, bro. Go run. Go do something that's gonna work on your body and your mind. Um, that'd be my advice.
I agree with that. Just as we mentioned, I talked about earlier, the discipline aspect of it can go a long way in any part of your life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on the spot on this one. This one's might be a little tougher one. So
Okay.
obviously, you have a bunch of different things you're doing in your life right now. If you had to pick one of those roles, whether being a firefighter, coach, or entrepreneur, which one are you picking?
Oh, this is horrible, bro.
So,
This is horrible. Okay, okay, okay. I have two different answers because if it's money, I gotta go with the full-time job. But if it's something that I just truly love, then I gotta go coaching. Gotta go coaching. It's the best thing that I do
mhm.
outside of my full time, man. It's so fulfilling. Being at practice every day, um, being with the kids, man, and watching them grow. And then the atmosphere of the games. Like I tell people all the time, and I feel like most of Kansas knows this, but the Sunflower League is the best league in Kansas, hands down. The atmospheres that each school creates, especially on the road. I'm over on the road type of guy. I don't know how you guys were playing,
No,
but
I think any real ball player likes playing on the road.
exactly, it's just nothing like it. Um, yeah, man, I'd have to go coaching for sure. I love it. Love every bit of it.
That's real.
Um,
E, do you got any more questions to finish out or
nah, man, no questions. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Brandon. Obviously, we appreciate you for coming on and taking some time out of your day to sit down and talk with us and enlighten us on your perspective and just being able to get to know you a little bit more outside of just back and forth on Instagram or seeing each other's clips and things like that. But I really enjoyed this conversation. I am going to text you tomorrow in the morning to get your opinion on what happened tonight.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
be looking for that for sure. Um,
Yeah, we'll be back up here watching it on the big screen at this facility. So yeah, it's we're actually having a watch party here, so it's gonna be fire. So yeah, man.
100%. And then, Zayd, before you hit the final home run, Brent, I just want to give you another opportunity to plug, the Pickleball League, what you're doing over at District KC, all the things you have going on. I want to give you an opportunity and a platform to, continue to endorse yourself and the brands that you're working for and with.
Yeah, man. If you guys want to follow the Pickleball Club, it's BPC of KC on Instagram. We just created a TikTok as well. If I can recall, I think it's BPC of KC. Only got one video on there, but we working. And then Facebook, if you look up the Black Pickleball Club of Kansas City for like I think groups, yeah, you could join that. Trying to think what else when it comes to the club. Sundays, 4:30 to 6:30, KC Pickle Club. I'm telling you, it's one of the best atmospheres I've ever been a part of. It's like 50 to 80 people there every Sunday. So it's a huge community. Food and drinks are served. And then Wednesdays, if you guys want to test yourself in King of the Court, we do that. And like I said, the classes we're going to have as well, and open play as well at Clam Park in KCK. Move the Needle. Our first event is May 21st. Uh, I feel like this is a good time to announce right now. We're doing views and The Life of Pablo for the first two vinyls. So throwing it back to 2016, I love those artists and I love those albums. So we're gonna do that here. Doors open at 6, and it's gonna last until 11. So you really can come at any time, as long as you have a ticket. I'll announce all the prices and stuff later. Um, and then if you want to watch some good basketball in the fall, in winter, on Lake the East, we next year are gonna be nice. All right. So even if you guys want to come down and watch us hoop, man, there's nothing like being at the Hawks Nest. Um uh Hopefully, Zayd, if you want to come watch ONW get a beating, like you can come down, bro. We owe y'all a receipt. And yeah, so state run next year. Calling it right now.
Man,
Um
you heard it here first. You heard it here first.
Yes, yes, yes. Trying to think what else, man. That's it. I've loved being a part of this. I always love telling my story, but also, um, can I ask y'all one thing?
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
But what made y'all like start this? Like, this is the only question I got.
Yeah, I
You want to go
think
first? You want me to go first?
yeah, I think the biggest thing was we kind of touched on it earlier was it kind of started as an idea. So Zayd and I lived together our first 2 years of college,
Mm-hmm.
and we became really, really good friends. And we'd have really long conversations like you do with your roommates, and we just sit and we'd talk at the table and just had an idea like, man, like what if we just like started a podcast? And it was a jokes at first, we would like set up our phone and just like record ourselves talking on our phone and then would watch it back and it'd be a almost 2 3 hour long conversation of us just talking. But
Mm-hmm.
then the software presented itself in front of us where it was like, man, we could really do this. And with the connections and relationships that we've built with many different people through many different avenues, like this is a genuine opportunity in front of us. So we should jump at it as soon as we can. And there's really no reason for us to keep talking about it. So that's kind of what made us want to do it at first, and then like why we've continued to do it, because it's like you were kind of saying earlier, it's yeah, we do have a script, but we genuinely do enjoy hearing different perspectives and different outlooks on life and hearing different people's journeys. Like I was talking to my philosophy professor 2 days ago, and I was like, yeah, we're about to have a guest on who's a coach, firefighter, everything that you have going on. And he was like, man, like I how does someone do all those things, and how to like and just that being able to sit down with someone who is a part of all of those things, and then obviously other guests that we've had that are part of the things they are, this platform kind of allows for us to do that on a grander scale and things like that.
And I think for me too, it's kind of what we talked about earlier. It was always just an idea of us, me and E. We can sit and chop it up for an hour at a time, hour and a half at a time, no problem. And we just got to the point. We're 22 now, both about to graduate. I'm like, fuck it, let's let's do it. Like, what's stopping us from? It's the digital age of technology. Why not? Why not just make an idea happen? So yeah, man, we just kind of got into it, started making videos, and not even do it to like, oh, we want to blow up or whatever. Like, honestly, just do it for the love of the game. Like, we enjoy coming
Yeah.
on here, talking to people. I feel like people have kind of gotten away from being able to sit down and have a conversation for
Mm-hmm.
times on end. People just sit and text and are keyboard warriors, and no, don't really sit down and have long conversations because everyone has a story at the end of the day, and
Hmm.
it's kind of cool. Like for you, for example, like we see all the stuff you have on social media,
Hmm.
coaching, different live events, the pickleball league, but like actually hearing your story and how you got there and know what drives you, I think is really, really cool from our perspective. And just keeping in connection with a lot of different people I haven't talked to in, 3, 4 years, or people I just don't even know at all, and just meeting them and, giving them a platform to talk about what they got going on, but, also just getting to hear their story. So I think that's the motivation for me, and definitely going to keep it going. So we really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, man. I just want to say to y'all, man, like it's inspiring seeing you guys do this. Like-minded people. Just whatever idea you guys have, man, just attack it, go after it. If you do it with intention, and people see that you care. Um, not to say that it has to blow up or anything like that, but people see that, and whatever comes of it, comes of it. But yeah, just do it with intention, and um, yeah, I think it's inspiring what you guys are doing. So I'm honored to be on this pod, man. Appreciate you
Yeah,
guys for sure.
we hope it was an easy conversation for you.
Yeah, I see the tagline there.
Uh, but yeah,
So
man, anyone appreciate Coach Jack? I'm gonna call you Coach. We appreciate Coach Jackson coming on today. It was a dope conversation. For everyone listening, make sure you like, comment, share, and we'll be back next time. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you guys, man.